Hey there, welcome to the first devlog on this YouTube channel. I know it's been a minute since I rebranded and said I was going to do game design content, but now's the time, and we're going to get started pretty soon. Just going to lay down a couple bits of information before we jump kind of into the deep dive and the kind of more explanatory video segments that I usually do. But yeah, we're remaking the very first game that I ever made in Godot, and I'm going to try to just make it bigger and better than the original in every way that I can. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Of course, first we're going to start with some video footage I recorded of me going through and checking out the original game that we're going to be improving. So just, yeah, enjoy, and I will talk to you guys at the end of this as well. Alright, so this is the original Pizza Time project. You'll notice it opened into the code here. This is what it looked like when I originally made it. It's kind of really bad. If you hit play on here, I don't even think it works. Like, you get to this main menu screen, which is lackluster, and then it's printing 15 a bunch because of some code that I put in at a point to try to test something that wasn't working. So when you hit pizza time, it generates this random pizza, which I'm actually pretty impressed with still, but I don't think anything works. Like, the crust button doesn't work, none of these buttons work, and if you hit submit, nothing happens. It's just a mess. Which is even funnier is, like, there is a crust button here. As you can see, I also designed it with, like, infinity buttons. There's so many buttons here because I just didn't feel like implementing click drag functionality. The actual main code is pretty short. It's pretty small, little segment. Main menu's code is even smaller. The actual pizza itself is where the most code is, which I think is detrimental to my health. Just like how much is in here. It's a lot of if statements checking to see if a topping matches a list, and if it is part of, like, if it's the correct thing, it'll load the texture. So it's like, oh, if I generate a pizza and I go through the generated array, it basically is like, is index 0 green peppers? No. Is index 0 pepperoni? No. Is index 0 mushrooms? Yes. All right, load the mushroom texture, add it to the like the base sprite that I have, set the texture, and then get rid of it. And then it goes through every single thing inside of this ingredients thing. So it just keeps going, and then it goes, okay, you only have green peppers and mushrooms? Cool. Index 0 is now green peppers. Load the thing. Like, and it just does this over and over and over again. Extremely inefficient code. Like, I made this, I want to say, maybe like August of last year. So hopefully we can get some better content rolling in for this one. Alright, I decided after looking at that horrendous mess of code and terrible art that the first order of business was to try and remake the pizza generation script with a few added bonuses. I first made a base class resources for the toppings, and this kind of allowed me to define any base features that I'd want the toppings to have. Things like if they're a sauce or a crust, what kind of topping they are, their name, any images associated with them, just kind of a big blanket envelope of data that I could use for later if I needed to. Then I got to work on the actual pizza generation script itself. And I started initially by making an array with all the toppings in the game, but I realized that might be easier if I did that on the global end. And from here, after the footage you're seeing, I genuinely kept forgetting to record stuff. And so there's going to be a pretty big jump in time here. I think I recorded this initial footage on January, 12th or something. And this footage is going to be from February 13th, a near full month later, when I had effectively stopped working on the project for a little bit, for about 3 weeks, and then kind of just came back and started pumping stuff out again. So instead of me explaining it, I will just have myself explain it from then. Alrighty, see ya. So my next order of business was to kind of make sure everything was organized, make sure the files were correct, and then I started kind of working on the actual pizza generation script itself. A lot of the footage, you will not really see the final product of it because I did the final product later, but I effectively was just trying to make sure that this pizza generation script worked in a way that was, like, sensical. most of it was me trial and erroring my way through figuring out how to do certain things via using global arrays, if I wanted to do like if statements, and kind of just working my way through it to figure out what was optimal. And in the end, I think I came up with something pretty good, but I will talk to you from the future now and tell you how that went. Okay, so it's been a minute since I've recorded for this devlog specifically. Been about 2 weeks, I think, since I last worked on the project, so I don't really know kind of what I filmed and what I haven't. So I'm just going to go through everything I have, and this will be kind of like our ending segment for part 1 of the devlog. Like I said, I haven't worked on this for about 2 weeks. The video for devlog part 1 was supposed to come out in February, and it's going to be coming out in March instead, because I just got kind of hard stuck and then got demotivated, and so I promise I'm still going to keep working on this, but the video isn't going to be coming out until March, which is fine. Anyway, I'm just going to kind of go over like what I've done. I don't know how much, again, is on camera, so it's just going to be whatever I show you here. This is what I did for the little bit. So basically, I made this Pizza Manager Global, and it has an array of ingredients that kind of like is just a list of ingredients that I have. How the game determines this list of ingredients is it loads them, and we get direct access to one of my file paths here, which is this pizza ingredients folder that I've highlighted. And then it looks through the files inside that folder and see which ones end with the resource tag. And then it loads that resource, and then it adds it to this ingredient array. And that's pretty much all it does. And this code is just like, hey, get to the next file, figure out what the file is, and then add it to the array, etc. But it's effectively just looping over until there's nothing else that it needs to find in this folder. Then what our order here does, and our order has a timer, a visual for the timer, and this pizza crust baked sprite, which it will change. I just needed a reference to it. And then it has its own all ingredients, as well as a generated pizza, and then a topping sprite variable, which is just for later. I actually haven't even implemented the code that this is for, but I will be doing that in the next episode once I get the art done for these things. It takes a number of toppings, and then it does a bunch of stuff for the timer to make the timer work. And then it does this generate order function call. This is the generate order function call. It's pretty concise compared to my original generate order function. I actually went back and looked at it again today to see like how bad it was, and this is just infinitely better in every way. Like, so much more scalable, so much more like just clearly written. Basically, you have a bunch of these temporary, I call them temporary variables, but they're not temporary, they're just in scope for the function only. But you have all these in-scope variables that are arrays, right? They're effectively temporary. They don't get stored in memory after the generate order function is done, which is pretty cool. And then there's also this picked crust. This is very specifically here for one thing in particular. So basically, it goes through all of the ingredients in this all ingredients variable that I create for this instance. It's actually just a hard copy of the pizza ingredients from this pizza manager file that we figured out earlier. And then it checks to see the type of ingredient via their type here, which is in this ingredient class that I made. Variable type of ingredient type is this enumeration, so crust, topping, sauce, and it basically goes through each type, so sauce, crust, topping, and it checks each to see which thing it is, and then it adds it to these temporary arrays, so that if I have 4 sauces, 2 crusts, and 10 toppings, we'll have 4 sauces in here, 2 crusts in here, and 10 toppings here. And then for the toppings, it takes this picked topping variable, which I believe is just a random variable. Oh yeah, so this picked topping variable is created instantly to like, it's just picked to make sure that I have a selection variable in mind, and then it checks to, or it picks a random thing from pick topping, and then that's right. This variable is equal to this random pick topping, and then it will erase itself from the pick toppings array, or it'll erase the pick topping from the toppings array, which is this one here, and then it will append with the new topping there. So that basically it adds to the generated pizza, but it won't ever have duplicate ingredients go through, so there won't be like double green peppers, it'll be green peppers or pepperoni or whatever. This is just to ensure that I wasn't initially, like I planned initially to have double toppings, but I don't really like how that, because it really visually colors the sprite unless I do specifically separate artwork, and there's like a whole other like code base that I have to make basically to make like the check for duplicate toppings, and then it's kind of like so until I can figure out how to do that, I'm just not going to include it. Maybe if this dev series goes on a little longer than I expect, I might add it in the future. But for now, double toppings are not an option, so it is going to just completely get rid of the topping from the list and then keep going until it's picked enough toppings, which in this case is the number of toppings. Which for now we have 1. There's only going to be 1 and then adding it, but in the full game probably between 1 and 5, or between 0 and 5, because theoretically you can have sauce, you can have dress, you can not have like a topping, I guess. But we'll see how we feel about that. We can figure out code for that later as well. Pick crust is just a random crust, and then the sauce as well. It picks a random thing, and then it also picks a random crust. So the pick crust is equal to crust pick random. This is because where is that pick crust? Is that pick crust variable in here? It is. So the pick crust variable is actually here. It has 2 purposes. It is 1, so there's a hard reference to it. So okay, the pick crust is crust not pick random. Cool. So it picks a random crust from our list of crust, and then this pick crust becomes that crust, right? The sprite texture then needs to be updated to that pick crust sprite, because it would make sense if like you have pizza and there's no crust, right? So in this instance, running, it might be dough, so might be like hard but they these are pizzas, and then let's go see. Hopefully I can generate an old pizza, which is just I swear it works. It works. There you go. Yeah, I see. Now they're generating normal. These are the normal crust. The stuffed crust just doesn't have a sprite yet. All of this stuff, this timer visual in the background as well, which this is how the orders are supposed to look when I get them to work in game eventually. They'll have timers, and then they'll run out, and you'll have to kind of like make the pizzas as you go. How I would do that is beyond my scope of understanding. So for now, we're just going to say, I never pizzas, they don't have spice yet because I don't have but I swear that this is like a pretty milestone for things that work in my brain. So hopefully the next vlog will come out sooner. I have a video for April, but if I make good progress, I'll probably upload that vlog that I just quickly throw together quicker than my normal videos. But we'll see. We'll check it out later. See you. And that's it for part 1. To be honest, this video was supposed to be a lot longer and out a lot sooner, but I'm often troubled with motivational issues. But rest assured, more is coming to this game, and I want to try and make it the best that I can for everybody, including you guys watching. Don't expect too much in the way of devlogs, though. I often plan my videos pretty far in advance, but I'll try and have another progress update about this game in May. There's also the potential for me to make more devlogs if I can find the continued motivation to work on the game and actually remember to record and edit stuff. But like I said, there's no guarantee that that'll be a thing. I just want to let you guys know that it's up in the air. If I really like lock in and make a bunch of stuff, that I might actually put devlogs out for this game aside from my monthly kind of bigger, more thought out videos. For now, expect a video that isn't entirely related to this video next month. There's a little bit of relation, but I'll explain it in that video once it's out. I hope to have some good progress for you guys in the next video in May, but here's to hoping, right? I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.